Hi there, I'm back. I really didn't mean to go this long without an episode, but life got in the way. I'm Betsy. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I go by TinyCrossStitches both here and on Instagram. This is a channel about cross stitch and a little of other crafts and things I'm thinking about tossed in. Welcome to my Flosstube. So, just a little about what's been happening in the last month and a half. First of all, I decided that sharing my stitches using my laptop camera was just not going, it just looked blurry all the time. So, I'm trying out using my phone. And I had also planned to do a Flosstube extra where I explained how I organize myself for doing temperature cross stitch, and I tried to film it 2 or 3 times, and none of the times the microphone was working. So I got frustrated and gave up. So fingers crossed this works this time. And then other than that, like I think a lot of people have been, I just had life stuff going on. I wasn't feeling well for part of it. And no, but I'm back now and I have so many things to share. Like, I just couldn't wait any longer, or my episode was going to be 2 hours long. So hopefully this works pretty well this time. I'm just going to do a regular update. So I'll start with things I finished, things I've started, and then any other WIPS. So it's going to be a lot of stitching, which is good. Even if stuff was hard, I got a lot of stitching done. So, yeah, we'll start with finishes. Okay, well, just kidding. I wanted to start with shout outs. So, I have watched a lot of Flosstube in my time away. And I just wanted to call out some interesting Flosstubes and Flosstubers that I've been watching. So I started watching Lumi Stitch, who is a Flosstuber who had commented on a couple of my videos, and I highly recommend her channel. A lot of times you don't see her face, but she shows like in detail how she's finishing different finished objects into fully finished objects, and that's really cool to watch someone do. It's not like the people who look like you could never do it that well, but they all turn out really amazing. So lots of good ideas for fully finishes there. I also really enjoyed Julie, the Kansas City girl in the Colorado Worlds episode called "The Horrors Do Persist." I feel like I love just like the way she sees the world, and when she talks about books, even though they're books I'm not very into romance, and sometimes her books are a lot of romance, but I always enjoy listening to her talk about the books that she's reading and the different stitching that she's doing. Also, an amazing finish that I saw from Annie XO Needle in the Hay XO, where she put All Are Equal in Death on the back of a flannel, and it's just like amazing and punky, and I love it. So check that out. I think now that might be a couple episodes back since I've been gone so long. I also discovered librarian Stitcher Lady Jess, who is not too far away from me in DC. She's in Maryland, and she's a librarian, and so lots of cool stitching projects, but also just other crafts, needlepoint, different sewing projects. There was some that was like pastels recently, and she does like different like crafty classes at the library, and so there's always just like a good mix of things, always something that I have never done before, plus like interesting cross stitch as well. So it was good to see her. I always like seeing a new episode from Dace, the Dace Man. They have such interesting perspective on their stitches, do a lot of full coverage that I've just never been into full coverage, but I love seeing their progress. And also, some projects are completely in beads that, um, yeah, just an amazing crafter. So I really enjoyed his episode. And then at the end of March, I found out about a meetup in Culpeper, Virginia, which is a ways away from me, but not too far. Um, I heard about that from Becca is Stitching, who's here on YouTube and also on Instagram. It seems like Erin the hiking stitcher is like one of the organizers of this, and it was just a really good time. We met at a winery. It was beautiful outside, and ate some food and did some stitching for a few hours. I got part of the way there with Lucy crafting across continents, and that was really nice because we had just some really interesting chats about our different experiences internationally. And yeah, so it was good to have some like stitchy friend contact in person, which I don't usually get. And I talked mostly with Lucy and Becca and Sarah from S. Cooper Makes, and Emily, the pop-up stitcher. There was also several other people that I will tag in the description, including MJ Stitches from YouTube, or sorry, MG Stitches, Mary Grace, from YouTube. And I later went and watched some of her videos, and they're also great. So lots of good new friends and Flosstubers to watch. And then the weekend after that was the Nash Stash Startathon, which was kind of a blur. I tried to attend, it was only Friday night and Saturday. I tried to attend both days, but I was just feeling like socially tapped out and like kind of just, I just felt like tired. And so I like really enjoyed watching some of the chats with designers. I loved hearing that the Blue Flower wasn't like an artist with like pen and paper ever, but just always just like made the designs in pixels. That was really cool to learn. And I had a chance to talk with the Stitch in the Matrix Wendy, which is always a good time. So those parts were good, but I definitely like had some moments where I was like, maybe I just need to take a break. Even though I'm not actually talking to people, I feel like socially tapped out. So yeah, it was interesting. And you know, it's one of the benefits of being at a virtual retreat is that you can just walk away, and it wasn't like a huge cost or anything. I think it was like $10 or something, so it wasn't like I needed to get my money's worth or anything, but I definitely thought it was a good time. I just wasn't very social. And then the last Flosstube that I wanted to mention was Allison and Stephanie at Cross Stitch the Globe had a couple of videos recently of freebie patterns for these ones were one set was for spring and one set was for Easter. And I love the combination of they have some videos that are like, these are the most expensive patterns, kits, books, whatever that you can get, but then also here's a whole bunch that are free. So it's kind of like a balance. And I know a lot of us went a little wild with purchasing patterns from Nashville market, so it's always nice to have some free patterns to choose from also, and you're feeling like, oh, maybe I need more patterns in my stash. And yeah, and I would just say also, and maybe this is just because I'm projecting, because I was feeling kind of out of it and like sick, and I don't know, I think Sarah from the Notorious Needle called it perimenopause. I definitely was feeling that recently. But just a lot of people seem like they're going through some stuff, feeling tired, like health things happening. And so I won't call out anyone else related to that, but just know that I see you and I was going through similar, and I am wishing you a more energetic spring going forward. So yeah, those are all my shout outs. And so now we'll go to finishes. Okay, so in the last 1.5 months, it wasn't 2.5 months, I promise, I have finished 2 different things. The first is this Bright Noel from the Jingle Ball Baubles book from this last 2024 Jingle Ball. This is by Tiny Modernist, and hopefully you can see the stitches a little better using this camera. But yeah, I love it. I actually wasn't super trying to get this finished, but when I was at the meetup in Culpeper, I tried to work on this other thing, which I'll show you in starts, and I just found myself I did 20 stitches and then I had to pull them all out, so I needed something that was more not as complicated for a while there was all this activity around me. So I started working on this, and then I was like, oh, I'm so close to the end, I should just finish it. So that's another ornament done. I will try to finish this. I think I'm gonna do maybe a flat fold sort of ornament. I'm not sure. But that's Bright Noel by the Tiny Modernist. And this is, I think, a 32 count, just a natural linen, or maybe it's even weave. Yeah, actually, I think it's even weave because I don't see very many slubs. But yeah, and it's 2/2. I use DMC, just all the called for. So there's that. And then this is the Sloth is done. He's so cute. I'm so glad that I finished this one. So this is, I think it didn't really have a name. It was part of a bundle that I purchased, a whole shop bundle off of Etsy. This is by TinyCrossStitches on Etsy, and it's on a 16 count navy Ada and using DMC 2/2. So that's exciting. This is a gift for a friend, so I think I'm gonna finish it using this frame. I think the colors look great, so I'm glad. I'm gonna try out this sort of previously when I've done framing, I've kind of just stuffed it in the back and maybe laced it up a little bit, but I'm gonna try pinning and see if I can get comfortable with that. This one, I think it would be okay if it was a little off balance, but learning to do it so that it's very well centered is, I think, in my future. So there's my second finish, Sloth meditating. And so now we will talk about starts. Let me just get a little organized and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I had a total of 8 starts in the last month and a half. So some of these I had forgotten were new starts since the last Flosstube because it seems like it's been so long. But the first one was one of the ornaments from Christmas Cats and Owls. It was a Whipco call by Owl Forest Embroidery. So I'm not completely done with this guy, but very close. So this is one of the Christmas cats, little Ginger, and he's on a 16 count oatmeal Ada and used DMC 2/2. So that's that one. This was a WIP Go call for March. And then, and I'll put up a picture of what the finished objects look like. Then I have been sort of like seeing if something will fit whenever Marjorie made puts up Pick-a-Whip prompts. So she'll put up 2 prompts for each month. And so I think these prompts were something on a dark cloth, so I did the Sloth because that was already called for my WIP Go board, I think. And then the other one was friend pick. So I put up a few different options on my Instagram, and this is the one that got the most votes. This is Anne Frank by Gera by Kyoko Maruoka. I hope I'm saying that right. Maruoka? I think that's right. Okay, so this is how much is done. I really wanted to get into the roof to see how this like plaid was gonna look, so I'm glad I got a little progress there. Hopefully you can see this beautiful fabric. And there's like some of a airplane on the side there. I chose a slightly different color to what is called for the fabric. This is Aquarius by Stitch Me, and I think that the wings of the airplane are kind of blending in. But I think it's okay because I kind of feel like these warplanes like kind of had a like the coloring kind of blended in some ways to the like you know the Netherlands is kind of like Oregon in that it's like cold and rainy a lot, so yeah, I think I'm okay with it, but I might end up going back and changing that color, so let me know what you think. I was listening to, I think it was Jen's Fiberweb, who was talking about the way that you pick colors so that they so that like the color value is contrasting enough so it doesn't like fade into your fabric. But I think a lot of times I sort of just say, okay, whatever, it's fine. So we'll see if I agree with that decision when I get a little further along, but it's really not that many stitches in that color, so I figure I can always pull it out. So that was Anne Frank. And you know, it says, in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. So, and then there's like, it says something about peace at the bottom. So yeah, that feels appropriate for right now. So that was my second start. And again, that was like, it was on my WIP Go board as a new start for this year at some point, but it hadn't been called yet. And so I decided it was okay to start some of the things that I had already planned on starting early. And so I put that as one of the options for, I think it was like 5 options on my Instagram, and I asked people to vote. And so if you're interested in some of my other new starts that are coming up, there are other ones on that list that I will be starting. And then my second Christmas ornament WIP Go call from from March was Let It Snow by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Again, this was from the 2024 Jingle Ball Baubles book, and this is my start. I originally only had the border because I just wanted to make sure it was easy to count. And then I started playing a stitching Monopoly, which I heard about from Michelle Bendy Stitchy. But it's a game that's being run on a Discord channel, and it was created by Sammy J Stitches. And I think she also does other games like this. And it's basically like different squares or different properties get assigned to 22 of your WIPS, and then whatever you land on determines which project you stitch on. And so this came up for 500 stitches, which is what you do for a purchase. And that got that whole bird and some of the snowflakes in, so I feel like I'm like really close. Well, I mean, I still have like half of it to do, but much closer to a finish than I felt when I only just had this little frame. So yeah, it's Let It Snow by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I also think he looks a little creepy because I haven't put in his beak yet. So yeah, he just looks like something is wrong with his face, and that entertains me. But yeah. And then, so I think it's the Story Quest Stitcher on Instagram had posted about the loss of their cat. His name was Pi, and their cat was 18. And we have a cat that's 18, and her name is Sweetie Pie. And this was a stitch along called The Life of Pi Sal, and I think the prompts were like anything to do with pie, or a memorial for a lost animal, or you know, anything with a cat. And I was thinking about my first cat, Otis, that I got as like, I had never been able to have cats because my father was very allergic to cats. He seems like he's slightly better now. He stayed with us and we have 3 cats and it went okay. But I'd always wanted a cat. And so my roommate at the time brought home these 2 kittens that someone had adopted and then couldn't take care of them. And it was Otis and Serendipity like dipped out at some point. She decided she didn't want to live in a home with multiple cats, and she found someone else who wanted only one cat. And then they found me and said, do you want to just give this cat to someone, because she obviously wants to be by herself. So I didn't have her as long, but I had Otis from 2000 to 2013 when he passed away. And so I wanted to do something that was a memorial for him. So I will put up a picture of him and also a picture of the 2 patterns that I mixed. He had like a really different coloration. So he was orange and white, but mostly white with just like orange stripy tail and an orange stripy head, but otherwise he was white with just like a few orange spots on his back. So I took these 2 patterns from LiftedSpiritDesigns, and one was a tabby cat and one was a solid colored cat, and I altered them so that they would look more like him. And you can see from the pattern that there's supposed to be like a banner at the bottom and some foliage around to frame the cat, but I finished the cat and then I didn't move any further yet. But I'm really happy with how he turned out. I'm thinking it'd be nice to just have him in my office with me, looking over me, because he was a love, and I loved him very much, and he was with me from when I was like 19 or 20, and then 13 years later. So formative times, and he meant a lot to me. So there's that. This is for the life of Paisaw. And it's my cat Otis. Okay, so that was 4. So we have 4 more to go. My next start was from the Night Garden series that was part of the Nashville market this year. So I think there were like 20 different designs, and they all used the same palette from Threadworks. And Michelle Bendy started talking about like, oh, you could arrange them on one piece of cloth if you do more than one of them. And so I went a little wild with how many of the patterns I got, but I only started one of them so far. So this was my Nash Stash Startathon start, and it was also by the Tiny Modernist, and this one is called Twilight Moon. The fabric is Coconut Shell by Be Stitch Me, and I think it's a 36 count. The last one was a Navy Ada. It's 16 count. And Let It Snow was, I think the color's called Frost, also a 36 count that I used for another ornament you've seen before. So my thought is that I'll put all of them on this fabric. I think I could put 12 on here. So yeah, hopefully that is a good option. I'm just hoping to finish this one before I decide whether I'm going to put like any framing around it, or I'm just going to like put them all on and then maybe add the framing later. Yeah, I probably would use the frames that Michelle put out, at least as guidelines for like where I will put things, but yeah, I think I probably need to get another thread pack because I don't think I can get 12 plus a frame out of the thread pack I have now. So, but yeah, that's it's kind of an exciting like spot sampler thing that I'm doing. I like those. So that was number 5. Number 6 was the long-awaited, which I thought was coming out in March, but actually it was coming out in April. The Extraordinary Birds Stitch Along. So yeah, this is by Lola Crow, and I only have parts of the top half of it, so it goes down quite a bit more for the frame. But the frame came out April 4th, and this is how far I've gotten. I will say that Stitching Monopoly has been taking over my stitching lately, because my board is going really fast, and so I haven't gotten as much in on this as I might have liked. But this is on the called for Sandbar 36 count linen by Be Stitch Me, and look at those colors. There's also on this side, I haven't put in enough of the colors, but there's, I think it's called a Dracula parrot, and then there's like an owl in the middle that you see sort of part of the outline of. So this is going to be the frame of the aviary. So that's exciting. I'm really excited with how it's looking and how the colors look, and looking forward to what different birds come out. Okay, so then my WIP go call for April, for my WIPS and Starts board. I got a new start, and then the other one is Amigurumi Crochet, which I haven't started working on yet. I have some WIPs, but I haven't brought them out yet. But the new start cross stitch is called Labrador Puppy, and it's from Cross Stitch Gold. I'll put the name of the magazine. It's from a magazine, and I tried to convert it to a PDF a bunch of times, and then I realized now I have a tablet, so I can just open the Libby app and look at the pattern and zoom in, and then I can, you know, use the really badly turned into a PDF version to mark off the stitches in Pattern Keeper, but like be able to see them really well on the Libby app. So that's working, and you'll probably have seen a picture of it, but this is where I am. It almost looks like nothing, but if I get a little bit closer, you can see, I hope, that I've started putting in these clouds in the background that are a really light blue, and then the darker color you see is sort of like the beginning of the outline of the puppy's head. So yeah, I still have a couple more days to work on this. I figured getting the clouds out of the way is gonna make the rest of it more motivating to me, and also they're at the top and I like to start at the top. So yeah, so that's that one. This isn't from a known designer. I will put their name. It was a person's name. I will put their name in the description, but this is how far I am so far. I wouldn't be surprised if I've only done like 1%, if that, but I was glad to get it started. It might be a gift for someone, so it's good to have a reason to work on it. And then my final start for the last month and a half was another WIP Go call for my Christmas ornaments board for April. And this is Hands-On Designs Peace on Earth from the 2024 Jingle Ball Baubles book. And this is how far I am. So it's only just the one color so far, but I'll get closer because for once I do not completely hate my white stitches, which is nice. I feel like I've been going back and forth where, like, if I'm working on a different count or with a new type of thread or something, I'm like, oh, my stitches are horrible. And then I go back to Ada and DMC and I'm like, they're so beautiful. So, you know, it's all a learning process. I'm sure the other types will get better as I go. So yeah, that was all my starts. A lot of starts, 8 starts. But yeah, some exciting things, and I feel like I made it far enough into a lot of the things that I'm motivated to keep going when they come up in Stitching Monopoly or WIP Go, or I just spin a wheel and decide that's what I'm working on today, or, you know, whatever. Someone wants to do a stitch along. I have a lot of things to choose from now. And I do feel like the idea of doing the Christmas ornaments and making sure to start a couple every month is good, because I feel like I have a couple that are finished now that just need to be made into ornaments. And as we go through the year, I'll have more that are at least like a little ways into being done. So if I want to do a mad ornament creation at the end of the year, it won't be nearly as much stitching. It'll more just be like motivating myself to actually do the FFO. Speaking of which, my WIP Go call for March that was FFOs. I did a lot of the pre-work, but I did no FFOs. So I got a couple of these frames. This one for the Sloth meditating one, and there's another one that's just like it for whatever else is a good size for. And then I got some of those, it's like a cross-stitch hoop, but it looks like it's wood, and it has a hanging thing so that you can finish something in a hoop, that were the right size for some smaller things that I have, but I didn't actually start finishing anything. And I watched some YouTube videos about pinning. So I don't think any of that counts as doing an FFO. So that's still ongoing. I feel like WIP Go calls, like, it's great if you can do it in the month, but your board, your rules. If you don't know about WIP Go, it's a game sort of like bingo that Jessie Marie Does Stuff invented a while back. So if you're interested, go to her channel. There's like a really great descriptor of what it is, and then there's numbers called every month. So yeah. So what I was saying is, I feel like even though I didn't finish the FFOs in March, that doesn't mean I can't still like do those days of FFOs later on in the year and then count it as completed, just not in the month. So yeah, those are my starts. I'm gonna do one more little organization for any remaining WIPs I haven't talked about, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there were 4 WIPs that were not finishes or starts for the last month and a half. So the first one I actually worked on quite recently, but I started working on it right after our last episode. So this is my temperature chart for 2025. It is Night Sky by Flamingo Designs. It's on a 28 count Monaco in black, and I was kind of just ignoring this WIP, and then it was rolled in Stitching Monopoly, and that gave me a chance to do 500 stitches, which got me all cut up by the last day I worked on it. So that was it was through April 11th, so I have a few more days I could do now, but I love it. You can tell it's like a little bit more than a quarter done. And I did Saturn, which the rings and the planet are 2 different days. So it did say, like, if your colors don't contrast enough, you might want to do some back stitching, but I think they ended up being a really good contrast. So super stoked on these. Yeah. So yeah, it's very fiddly, like, you know, switching colors every, like, between 2 stitches and 50 stitches between when you have to switch colors. So, but yeah, I just love how it looks when it's done. So that will motivate me, even if the process itself is not my favorite. Yeah, so there's that one. And then I think the next thing that I worked on was Stitch for Pride 2025. So I finished the March section, which is representative of Chujin, and she, they, he. I'm not sure exactly what pronouns are appropriate, but someone who is assigned female at birth, and they were a warrior and a radical, and like taught at a school for teaching women to make bombs against the Qing dynasty and or Qing. My pronunciation of Chinese is horrendous, so excuse me. They spent some time wearing men's clothing, went away to school when women were pretty much expected to stay in the home, bind their feet, and not leave the house, really. And so they were recognized as like a great warrior of this time period, and also had a lot of gender non-conforming actions, and yeah, I just love this like dragon wrapped around the sword. And Chujin was also a poet, so I think these lines are supposed to represent like the poetry and the way that the Chinese characters go. But yeah, still in love with this stitch along. Here's the whole thing right now. So that's January, February, and March. I just started doing the learning for April, which is the person is Ozawindib, which is a two-spirit person from the area around the Great Lakes. So I'm not sure if I might be saying that wrong. Their main like claim to fame in history books up to this point was assisting a Indian aged white person in finding the true source of the Mississippi River. There was a lot of like different people who said, oh, this is the source, we're done, and like wrote that was the original source, but it wasn't, the real source wasn't actually determined until Ozawindib guided this white person to the true place. And the learning so far is really interesting because there's like a lot of there's like different people with the same name, or it seems like they're different people, but we think that they're probably the same person because they had the same father's name as well. One of them is spoken about like as a man, a male like warrior person of the tribe, and the other one is spoken about as this like weird gender non-conforming person, but they're actually the same person, we think. And then there was a lot of discussion about, you know, the ways that historians talk about things based on their own worldview. So at first it was like, this person is weird because they like were non-conforming, and then there's also like white queer historians who said this person was a homosexual male, but what was most likely is more of what we call two-spirit now, in that it was a person who was born with male sex characteristics, but who acted in society in women's roles, although they were also a warrior, so women could also be warriors in their communities. But yeah, so super interesting. I'm looking forward to doing the stitching on that. I don't think I've even looked at what the stitching is. I like to do the learnings first so that I can get an idea of who the person is before I start stitching. I find that's a little bit more meaningful for me. And when I was doing last year, when it was a queer artist, it was also helping me to choose the colors. This year I bought the floss pack, so I'm just using whatever the color the Algae Ross determined was the right color. But yeah, it's like, I don't want to separate the stitching from who the person was, so I want to like learn at least some of it before I start stitching. So yeah, hopefully I'll start April soon. And then another whip go call that is like a project I have not UFO'd, but it's gigantic, and it's all like, it's all in like very similar blues. I don't think I've used anything other than this blue so far. But this is Winter Face, and I'll put up a picture of what the finish should look like. But yeah, it was called for Stitching Monopoly, so I put in 500 stitches, and that's way more than I had before. So I'll just keep going on this until I decide I really don't want to do it anymore. Or I finish it. Hopefully that one. Hopefully I finish it. But it's a face, and just to give you an idea, those are just the bangs, so it's quite big. And this is on 14 count Black Ada. That last one is for Stitch for Pride. This is on a plum hemp linen by Jackson Fiber Arts. And then finally, the last thing I worked on, also for Stitching Monopoly, was my crocus in a pot. Let's see. So before I leave Winter Face, well, actually, let's just go back a little bit. So this project is from Stitch for Pride 2025 by D's 20 Stitches, and using a floss pack from Algae Ross, which is another person that works on this. And I think they also do a lot of the learning part. And it's on 32 count hemp linen in plum by Jackson Fiber Arts. Winter Face is by Goffin Design. So that's this one. Oh, this one. And it's using DMC 2/2. Stitch for Pride is also 2/2. And then Crocus in a Pot is also by TinyCrossStitches on Etsy. So it was part of that whole shop bundle. And I like how it's turning out, but I think that I don't lean towards these ones where it's a lot of the same color but slightly different colors. So like I've just been stitching all different kinds of white, very light pink, very light green, like 3865 blanc. And there's a similar thing with the purples, although that doesn't bother me as much. But yeah, I think it looks great. So I'm excited to finish it, but I don't know if I'll choose a lot of other things. It's like basically where there are stitches, it's full coverage, and there's a lot of confetti. So, but it is beautiful. So it's going to be a crocus in a pot. I'll probably have put up the picture. And I put in another like 500 stitches on this. So that is great progress as well. It is on I think a 16 count white Ada. This is one of the first projects I started after my Christmas gifts in 2023. And this is the most recent thing I've worked on. So we'll see what's next. I haven't had my next stitching Monopoly roll yet, so yeah, that's what I'll be doing next. Or I'll work on my WIPGO. So those are all my finishes, starts, and WIPs. I guess the Stitch for Pride 2025 is a finish for now, except that I already have the pattern for the April one, so not really. But yeah, so that's exciting. So much progress, and so it's almost like a WIP parade, but except that I have lots more WIPs that were not touched in this time frame. Yeah, so I think after this, let's see, plans. So my plans for however long it takes me to do the next episode. Hopefully it will be within at least a month, or shorter. So I do plan to keep working on my WIPGO calls for April. So that is Peace on Earth, which I started by Hands-On Design from the Jingle Ball Baubles book from 2024. Also from that book, my other ornament call was Christmas Bear by CC Nash. I think I'm going to do that on that same navy Ada. I don't really have a good red that isn't saved for something else. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then my other calls for my WIPs and starts board were the Labrador puppy, which I started, so I need to do a couple more days on that. And then some work on my amigurumi crochet. So I'm not sure exactly what that'll be. I have two projects going right now. One is the vegetables, which I just need to like finish weaving in all the ends and like connecting or gluing the things together that go together. So it might be that, or I also have a very small start on the lithops plant, which I think I showed in my WIP parade. It was just like, I just have a circle that's crocheted and that was the dirt for the plant, but there's like a pot and then all of the little pieces of the plant, which sort of looks like little tiny brains. So those ones. And then I really would like to at least get close to finishing the frame for Extraordinary Birds, the Lola Crow stitch along, and do the April Stitch for Pride motif and learning. And I think given all the other things I'm doing, like probably that is plenty of plans. There are pick-a-whips for April. I think one is Colorful Fabric. And what is the other one? Oh, it was the 2023 whip, and I only have one of those, and it's my embroidery black cat in a plant. So I might work on that. But I think it's like, it usually is like 500 stitches, but that's different in embroidery. So it might just be work on it a little bit. But that might be good to do just because my perspective on embroidery has changed a little bit. I think if I was going to do it again, I don't know. So needlepoint uses a canvas that does have a grid like Ada, I think. And then embroidery uses a canvas that doesn't have like a count or whatever. Like what I have is just like a piece of canvas, probably very small. If it does have a count, it's a high number. So I just found it was really hard for me to be okay with like the stitches not being in exactly parallel spots, and it's like, if I hold it away from me, it looks okay, but while I'm doing it, I'm just like dying inside. So, but I feel like I have a little more perspective on that, so maybe it'll be more fulfilling. So maybe I'll try that. But that's my only 2023 WIP. So yeah, so I might do that. And the like colorful fabric one should be easy because I have a Stitch for Pride and I have some other things that are in a colorful fabric. And then Stitching Monopoly because I'm super enjoying that. And it's I don't know, I like some of the people are people that I sort of like knew of but didn't get to interact with before, and you should see what everyone else is doing. There's been like a couple people working on chatelaines that look really nice, and just other things. So it's a lot of stitching though. And then I think next I have a ton of haul. So I think that I'm going to take a break and then I'll come back with haul in a while. Okay, well, we are back for haul. I feel like I was kind of dreading this because I feel like both I'm not sure if I know where everything is, and I feel a little bit like maybe I overdid it on the spending. So, but you know, here it is. So I'm going to start with threads because I got a lot of different threads and I'm excited about them. So first I got, I had been watching the Thread Gremlins and they were always talking about Pirate Robin, which I think is a Pacific Northwest person. But I hadn't bought any of the threads yet. Didn't see anything that like particularly made me want to get them. And then they had the sale for Misfits, which I believe is like maybe there was a knot in it, or like the color is slightly off, or something that just made it not perfect for sale. And they were extremely good price. So I got these ones. So there's a view of them together. This one is Bog Witch, and I had seen this on their channel and just been like, that is great color. I don't know what I'll use it for, but it's amazing. And these are cotton 6-strand threads. This one's called Rust. This one is Mushroom. Razzle Dazzle. Give it that old razzle dazzle. And then this one's called Twilight, which I think of as more of like maybe sunset or sunrise, but I guess Twilight. So I got those from Pirate Robin. So I'm excited to try these out. Like I said, I think I have a plan for one of them, the Bog Witch, in one of the patterns I kitted up from Nashville. Okay. And then one of the things I can't find is my March Classic Colorworks Floss Fix, but I have April. So these are the 6 colors that I got for April. These again are Classic Colorworks and they're cotton. So we have Nutmeggy, And these are in alphabetical order again, which is why I know I'm missing a set, because I don't have the ends. This one's Old Blue Jeans. Old Marigold. It's like a nice like orange and pinky color. Old Money. I think maybe I used this for a different pattern that it was called for, but it's like kind of gray, green, blue-ish. Old Oak Tree. This is like a yellow brown color. Olive Branch. And this is like cream, gray, blue-ish. And then, sorry about the crinkling. I also got some classic colorworks from 123 Stitch that I plan to use for the an ode to libraries pattern, which I think I showed in another video. I got it from a D-stash, but it was actually a Nashville release, so I don't know if they got it at a retreat or something. But there were a lot of colors that were Weeks Dye Works, and I try not to buy from them, so I some of these are not the called for. They're what I chose in these colors to replace the Weeks. If I have it, I will use it, but I'm not going to buy anymore. So this is Sweet Potato. I think this one was called for. Lettuce Leaf. This one is a replacement. Campfire. And Eggshell. So those are all the classic colorworks. Then one day I decided I wanted to try sulkies. So I got this sulky 12 weight. This is just 2 spools each of 3 of the most popular reds. And then I also got this teal color and a black. And I think my plan is to use these for a the free Palestine letter that Modern Folk Embroidery put out is in black and red. So I think I'm going to try to use these for that. See how it goes. That was like an easy way to try some out because it's only 2 colors. I have a couple choices for the red. And then I'll show you later, I got Pigeon and Puddle by the Blue Flower, the pattern, and I wasn't going to get the thread pack, and then the thread pack sold out, and then when Lindy Stitches, Steph at Lindy Stitches got their order, they had extras, and then I had to get them. So these are the Cottage Garden threads that are for that pattern. So there's Silver Birch, Murray Pine, Shadows. That's going to be great for the neck of the pigeon, I think. Nimbus, and Scandalous. So I've never tried Cottage Garden threads either, so these are Cottage Garden threads cotton as well. And then finally, it was in the bag from earlier. I got the thread pack from the Night Garden, the XStitchtheRainbow Night Garden, and they're kind of not like, they've been in the bag with my pattern, but these are the 4 colors that were used by all the designers. And I don't remember the exact colors names, but they're really pretty. So those are those. So those are all the threads I got. Plus there's probably a floss stick somewhere around here with the colors that start with N. And yeah, okay, and then fabric I didn't go quite as crazy on. So I got my fabric of the month from Stitch Me, and the color is called Willow. It's kind of a nice, like, warmish, neutral. I was thinking I wanted to go on the warm side for Greenhouse of Oddities if I ever start that, the Lola Crow stitch along. That was the year before the Deadly Aquarium. So this is an option. I just like the way some of the plants are like desert plants, and so I like the way that this, like, the deserty colors look with them, with some of the cacti and stuff. And then these are just stash builders. I'm not going to take them out of the package because they're not as exciting, but some more black 28 count Monaco, and some more navy Ada, since I keep wanting to use that for everything from Litchfields. Okay, so that's fabric. Before I get into patterns, which is, again, feels like a lot, I did, so at the Culpeper meetup, I met up with, one of the people I met was Emily, the pop-up stitcher, and she makes these project bags, and there was a coupon or a sale or something, and I was like, oh, I should get something from her because those look really cute. So I decided, since I'm doing so many ornaments, that I like this Christmas one. So the fabric on the inside is this, like, it's basically the same as the fabric on the outside, but red and white. And then the outside is this dark green and light green. I just love it. So that's that one, and it has a vinyl front, so you can see what's in your project. So I'm keeping some of my Christmas things in there. And then I did, I always like it when stores have like mystery bag, like I'll send you whatever I think. And so that was the second one. I figured I'd just be interested. So it's this tealy color. It's really pretty green teal, and then the inside is this bright sunny flowery pattern, and again with the vinyl front. And It has a little pop-up stitcher tag. And then she also sent me a thread. She calls them a thread bestie. So it looks like this on the outside, and then the back it says pop-up stitcher, and it has a little zipper pocket. And then inside is like a thread bed, and a little place to put your needles. So that's cute. So I've actually been using this a lot with the, I'm keeping my extraordinary birds in the brighter colored one. So I've been using it with that because there's a lot of like, you know, the frame, it's like all the pieces aren't close to each other, so sometimes you have to like do some stitches and then cut and then do the stitches that go somewhere else in that color. And I usually just have my threads everywhere, so to be honest, I could probably use one of those for every project, but I'm just you know, kind of learning to use it now. So yeah, I got those project bags from Emily, the pop-up stitcher. And then one other thing I did was I'll put a link in the description and maybe put some of the photos, but there was one of the things I've loved to do recently is like, you know, giving mutual aid or like contributing to things, and there's always like these charity cross stitch things where you get so many patterns and you get to try out different designers, but then you just like donate to an organization, so it's a fundraiser for that organization. And I love that because I like feeling like I'm helping, but then also like getting to try out people I might not otherwise like be drawn to their patterns. So there's cross stitch for Gaza, and the thing that they were raising money for was for a family to get some of their family members out of Gaza and somewhere safe, and I want safety for everyone, so that was a no-brainer for me. So yeah, like I said, I'll put some of the photos up and you'll see like what are the different things. Some of them are very related to Palestine and Gaza, and some are not. So, but yeah, so that was good. And then physical patterns. How many do I have? So many. Okay, so start with, so most of these are from Nashville. I did order some that weren't like new releases. But I ordered my Nashville orders from Lindy Stitches Steph, who runs the Jingle Ball. And Abby, the Top Knot Stitcher. And I kind of split my orders between them. So, in no particular order, from XStitchtheRainbow, I got several patterns, and those go with they all are in those 4 threads from Threadworks. So the first one is Nightmare Garden by Abby Topknot. So there's like a little carnivorous plant and a ghost and some bats. Super cute. From Romy's Creations, Moonlight Walk. From Quaint Rose Noodle Arts. Noodle Arts is something completely different. Macaroni collage. So this is Moonlit Cottage. And this one, it has like a pattern to make it a mattress finish, so I might try that out and leave this one off of my spot sampler. From Counting Puddles, who I just discovered, Moonlit Moth. So that's so cool. It's like cross stitch, but then on top of the cross stitch, there's black work to make those intricate designs. Pickle Barrel Designs, My Secret Garden. This is also from XStitchtheRainbow. So far, everything has been XStitchtheRainbow. Stitchy Pros, Night Owl. I love that one. Okay, and then I can't show them, but I got freebies from XStitchtheRainbow Night Garden from Annie B's Full Cart and the Blue Flower, but they're just the pattern, so I don't want to share them. And then not the XStitchtheRainbow Night Garden. I got this amazing pattern from Counting Puddles. I mean, can you see it? It's like pink and the stitches are so intricate, and there's like black work and cross stitch, and it's so pink and I love it. So this is on my list to start sometime. There are way too many patterns in the world. I'm sad about how there's only so much time and I want to do them all. Then from Robin Pickens, I really like this Peekaboo Birds pattern. It's just so bright and like cheerful. I feel like her eye for design is different than some of the other designers out there, and I like that. And then from Bendy Stitchy, I just really like this. It's called The Parties Are, or it's called Advised to Chill, but it says the parties are advised to chill. So I don't think this one was a Nashville release. This was just like, it was a cute Bendy Stitchy pattern that I picked up. Oh, I dropped one. I also got All the Stars by the Artsy Housewife. That was part of the Night Garden series. And I'm gonna pause briefly because there's a little kitty in here and he doesn't like the doors closed. Okay, so more patterns that I got from Lindy Stitches. Still on my Night Garden kick. This one is awesome. It's called Catch and Release by Nuri from Shaded Stitchery. And it makes me think of catching bugs and putting them in jars. This one is from Ink Circles. It's called Forget Me Nots. This one was very popular. The Blue Flower, Pigeon and Puddle. But I mean, really, it's a pigeon wearing rain boots, looking at itself in the mirror. Well, in a puddle. Oh, and then I guess this I got previously, but since this is a Nashville release, I kept it in the same bag. But this is an ode to libraries that I was talking about earlier, getting color conversion done on. yeah, so I think that's it. I hope that's it. Like I said, I'm missing some threads, but hopefully they will turn up. So that is all my haul. Oops, I forgot something important. I also got this as a gift. It's a cross stitch kit of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's good. It's so good. And my partner got me this for my birthday, and I am so pleased. Yeah, and also it's little, so it will stitch up real quick. But I think that's really the last thing. All right, see you soon. And yeah, it feels like a lot and excessive consumption, but I am really enjoying like supporting designers and small businesses and doing art, and hopefully I can try not to buy so many things for the rest of the year, or at least for a few months. You know, I never feel too bad about getting thread, but that was a lot. So, yeah, I hope whatever you're doing with your April is, oh, also it's my birthday, so that's a good excuse, right? I just had a birthday, April 6th. So, yeah, let me know what you're doing, how you're doing, whether you started anything from Nashville Market. Yeah, I hope whatever you're doing, you're stitching and you're enjoying the spring and all of the new things that are blooming, or like me, having lots of allergies, but hopefully you're managing them well. So yeah, I hope you have the best day available to you, and I'll see you next time.